Colorado Congresswoman Bobert is calling on DOGE and the Department of Transportation to reevaluate federal funding for the proposed Front Range passenger rail project. Bobert says that it is because many in her district do not believe it is necessary and would harm their quality of life.
I don't agree with her because it is really good for the state to have rail, but I was appreciative of someone stepping in there and just bringing some attention to this. 100% in favor of harming quality of life. Self-evident that trains going by you at a high speed and not stopping will harm your quality of life.
In late April, we released our final episode of our 3-part YouTube documentary focused on the Front Range passenger rail proposal.
We put together a small team to figure out 3 important things.
If you don't know what the Front Range passenger rail is, I suggest watching our documentary before this video. It's linked in the description below.
Around the same time, Congresswoman Bobert sent a letter to Elon Musk and DOGE, which claimed the proposal is a potential misuse of federal taxpayer dollars. She requested for the project support to be reevaluated and for federal funding to be halted pending review. In a press release, she mentioned concerns over how the project might harm quality of life. In almost a year of covering this project for our documentary, there's only one voice who shared this concern. The mayor of a small town in northern Colorado called Berthoud.
So can you imagine 12 of these throughout the day and us paying for it, but it not stopping?
That'd be upsetting.
We would get something if it stopped, but if nothing,
just that.
You'd be paying for nothing but noise, you know?
When we interviewed Mayor Karspeck in June of 2024, he served as a member of the Front Range Passenger Rail Board. Since then, he's resigned. So we went back to Berthoud to learn more about why Karspeck resigned, what he thinks about Bobert's letter, and how he feels about Front Range Passenger Rail now.
Talked to you almost a year ago now.
That's crazy.
But you were on the board then.
Right.
And now you're not.
Yeah, now I'm not. I guess I came to figure out, which I think I was getting some hints from others anyways, that Berthoud was just really never part of this. And I was feeling really led on. I put a significant amount of time. I'd probably put in more of that per week than, it's probably equal to what I do as a mayor, which is a lot. There was a lot of hope there that we would be considered later down for a secondary stop or whatnot. Or that we could convince folks to just be part of this initial rollout of stations.
Currently, Berthoud is not considered in the initial rollout of stations. But last June, there seemed to be a solution for the town, the secondary stop program.
It's just look at the secondary stop like it would include smaller communities. So you'd have the regular passenger rail, so it hits the big cities. A secondary stop would help out the smaller communities, and it might help out with additional stops for the big cities.
That's on a separate train?
It'd be the same system, same tracks, but yes, a separate train.
Okay.
So one would be going fast, and then one maybe 1 or 2 times or 3 times a day would be going slower and hitting all the other ones.
Gotcha.
When we interviewed the Front Range Passenger Rail Board's former district general manager Andy Carsian in July of 2024, he said that they
will plan to implement this program in the future.
But now, based on an email conversation with the Front Range Passenger Rail District Chair Chris Nevitt, Karspeck said he doesn't think the board believes in the program.
I said, if population is an issue, why can't we self-fund our station construction and be added? Then there shouldn't be much of an issue because we would be bringing our own money to the table. And then he replied, so if anyone builds a platform on their own dime, FRPR will show up to provide multi-billion-dollar service for free? You know that's not how it works, Will. I don't know, because truly from this string of emails, it doesn't seem that there's going to be a secondary stop program. They could easily say, oh, there still is a secondary stop program, but I just don't believe them. That's what it is. It's a lack of trust now.
To see what the district will say now, we emailed Nancy Burke, Director of Communications and Outreach, to ask whether the secondary stop program still exists. She said that adding more stops could be detrimental to the project because it could lose its inner-city rail classification, which is necessary to obtain federal grant money. Additionally, she said joint service is top priority. Joint service is a partnership with the Front Range Passenger Rail District, Colorado's Department of Transportation, and RTD, Regional Transportation District. Through it, commuter service is proposed with the plan for RTD to build stations in Westminster, Broomfield, and Louisville, places not considered in the initial rollout.
We'll have a bigger population than Louisville, and they're using that right now excuses you're not big enough, but Louisville is. Louisville's population is declining by 1,000 people. Ours is leaps and bounds growing. By the time the thing starts, we'll be that size. So it'll just make less sense. I can just see them popping champagne, and then whatever mayor, if Berthoud's there, being like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
What the heck happened,
Yeah.
In her email, Burke also wrote that secondary stops could be considered at any time, but all additional components that require attention would likely distract from the joint service directives and could potentially delay the service start date. This tension between Karspeck and the rest of the district is part of what led to his resignation.
You guys, it's right there. We were built off of this, and it doesn't hurt you one bit. Just include us into this. Be fair. That's what government is for, is to treat people equally. And it's just theater. They're just trying to get Berthoud to shut up. It sounds extreme, but I think perverse is the word that comes across to me. Perverse because we're not receiving anything and we still have to pay for it, and I can't get anyone to even say on their side, yeah, this is screwed up. Yeah, we would have done it differently. Or, we're looking at other options. It's always like those emails from Will, Will, we appreciate your time and your service, but,
That's why it might be kind of nice.
Trains left the station.
For Bobert's letter, just for someone,
Yeah, I felt an odd connection with her.
Yeah.
If you live in downtown Berthoud, or if you're recreating, or your economy's in downtown Berthoud, it's self-evident that trains going by you at a high speed and not stopping will harm your quality of life.
Do you think that this project will be successful under the current administration?
I think even if they tried to stop it, the way the FRPR is doing it is smart. A lot of it's relying on this state tax. They're planning on Trump trying to kill this. But I think it'd go through without federal support.
As we explained in the second episode of our documentary, here's a link. There is planned use of federal funding for this project, but it is still very important for the 2026 state sales tax ballot measure to pass.
We do not and will not have enough money without a ballot measure to pay for the entire project, north to south.
We asked Karspeck if he thinks it will pass.
I have no doubt. The dang project is too sexy. Like, you guys living in Fort Collins, it's just too sexy for you guys. It's too good. I think when you even bring up rail to the most conservative person, even though it's transit, it's kind of like, oh, cool. And when you're looking at it in a community like Berthoud or Longmont or Loveland or Fort Collins, where you were built off of rail, it's like duh. We're literally using existing tracks that our municipalities were built off of that used to have passenger rail on them. Mm-hmm. All we're doing is bringing back passenger rail. Mm-hmm. Duh, it'll work.
Do you still want this project to succeed?
God, what a good question. No, I don't. I want it to go into remission for enough time that this push by the governor, because he's about out of office, is gone, and cool heads prevail. So we could dust it off without any kind of pressure on it and take away all the political, it's now or never. It's not now or never. And just look at it holistically by community. Let's make this work for everyone, because that's easily possible. They're 95% of the way there. I will put it down there as I think this is the largest transportation mistake, oversight, kerfuffle in the 21st century in the state of Colorado. I challenge anyone to look at any CDOT funded program in the state that is doing this, that is ignoring communities. And it's because the upside of this is so positive and sexy that they're willing to not discuss and look over the downside, which is you are drowning or you're really excluding communities, small rural towns that this could really proportionately impact bigger than any other community.
Now Karspeck's plan is to band up with other small communities along the Front Range in the same situation as Berthoud to try to get out of the sales tax.
Doesn't look like we're getting a stop. Just get us out of the taxing district. So at least we don't have the insult of having to pay for stops in other communities. And is that going to make a huge difference to the taxpayer? I don't know, but I think at least symbolically, we're not paying for something we're not receiving.
Right.
The front page will continue to follow Karspeck and all other stories surrounding the Front Range passenger rail proposal as they come up. We appreciate your viewership.